we're gonna get started, but this is gonna be a what kind of meeting we're calling it? Informational meeting. We don't have a quorum. We don't have five, but we will be conducting a meeting and getting everybody's input and viewpoints. So it's not an official planning and zone meeting, but everything that's said today will carry over into our meeting. So we're going to get into the details today and go one by one for the items to see what everybody likes and don't like, and then that will be presented to our planning and zoning meeting committee, and then that will pass the vote then. So today,
We have Barry and
oh, never mind, we got two more. Okay, so everything I just said, scratch it. So we'll get started with the prayer and the pledge. I'll say the prayer. Ms. Angel will start the pledge. So, Father God, we just thank you for an amazing parish we live in. We thank you that we get to say how we feel about things, Father God, and we could agree to disagree, and I'll still love one another after, Father God. And as we do what's best for 100,000 people that live in this parish, we just want to keep that in mind as we are trying to please each and every single person, but we are trying to please the majority as much as we can, and let everybody have just a place to raise their family, a place to have their business, and just keep you at the forefront. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Robbie Liner,
Here.
Jan Rogers, Barry Soudier, Michael Billiot, Terry Gold, Clarence McGuire, Angel Poinson, Travion Smith, Wayne Thibodeau. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Christopher. All right, so the way we're going to do this meeting is a little different than the way we do every other meeting because this is the only item, this is the only agenda we're going to have today. So I think the best thing to do is we're going to go item by item. Everybody will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Every single item doesn't affect every single person here. Some things are good that won't affect you. Some things are bad. That's the stuff we want to get into. Again, we're not here to hurt anyone's businesses. We've got multiple calls from people that have RV parks that doesn't want anything to change to homeowners that are really concerned about an RV park coming up to their house, next to their home. That's, $400,000 house, and you got an RV park that pops up next to it. That's the kind of stuff we want to protect those homeowners. But we also here to protect our RV park owners as well. So trying to find that happy medium. Also looking into the people that just have, 2, 3, 4 RV parks on their home or on their property. We trying to figure out what to do with that as well and keep that separate from the RV park owners. So there's a lot of things we're trying to deal with and accommodate everyone. So the first thing we're going to do is section 1701. I'm not going to sit here and read it. I'm sure if you're here, you've already read each and every thing. If you didn't, shame on you. But we're going to go to each section. And if it's a section that you're like, man, that really hurts me, that really hurts my business, okay, that's what we want to talk about. We want to knock it off. We're not here to hurt your business. If it doesn't affect you, we're going to keep it because there's a reason why it's here. So section 1701.
Robbie, can I say something first?
Sure.
Oh, I have a mic. Great. I have it. Just to be clear for anyone that isn't aware, so we are discussing the RV park proposed regulations. This board had no decision about the moratorium. I know there's a lot of thoughts about the moratorium. This board has no power over that moratorium. So they didn't enact it and they can't withdraw it. Because I know last time we had a meeting, there were a lot of people that want to talk about it. I understand people have strong feelings about it, but we can't do anything about the moratorium. But we can help with your thoughts on specifically the sections that Robbie's going to be calling out. Thank you.
So when we go through section 1701, my opinion, I think that needs to come out. I don't see why we would leave that in there. The whole section.
What section is it?
1701
Take it out.
A through D. Yes, if you want to leave it in, like I said, give me some dialogue and what y'all thought. And we're gonna have an open mic. Like I said, if you feel passionate about section 1701 and it affects you, we want to hear from you.
So Robbie, I mean, just about every section in our ordinances have a similar section to this. What it's doing is just explaining to the reader, what is the purpose behind these regulations. They're not necessarily, I mean, it's kind of vanilla in here in the sense that the real meat of the thing comes further along in the definitions and the actual other sections that get into, what constitutes an RV park and what sort of standards of development and things like that. The purpose, though, is just, it's kind of just gives everybody a clear understanding of why these are there. It kind of gives an overall umbrella. Oh, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be revised, but it is
Okay.
very common to have this type of language.
Okay. Anybody else got any feedback on section 1701? Anybody from the audience?
I would just reiterate what Chris says. This purpose section is pretty standard in ordinances, and it kind of just guides the reader. Now, I also agree with Chris. Now, if you want to change it to either expand the purpose or more clearly define the purpose, then that's certainly can be done. But yeah, to take it out would be would make it different than other sections.
Okay. So if nobody has objections to section 1701, we will leave it in there. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Name and address.
Let me get your mic.
No.
Green, you'll see where's red. Our lady's out today, so Chris is trying to open up.
Oh, wait, here we go.
That's the one.
That's it. Well, when I read section C, authorizing the licensing of owners and operators and the inspection of recreational vehicles, we're going a little farther there. So are we licensing boatyards? Are we licensing pig farms? Are we licensing anything else? Why do we have this in there? Please explain to me.
You should be lit.
I would like to answer that question, and thank you very much for the question. With regard to RV parks in general, around the turn of the century, we had a large influx in the amount of motorized vehicles that were available. Before that, for a couple of 100,000 years, the most popular means of transportation was walking. For a couple 100,000 years.
I didn't know
So
that. Thank you.
yes, and so around the turn of the century, when cars became invented, people started to venture out from the inner city where they would have to walk to where they were. That's why we have inner cities. And then, so if you go to Europe, you have a lot of cities where you can't even drive through, because when cities were first built, the only way of transporting was by walking. And so you could walk everywhere. When we got the car, we started to then go outside of inner cities. That's why we have St. Charles Avenue, right? They moved from the French Quarter, and now they're building their mansions along St. Charles, because now you can get there by rail. Before the car, you could get there by rail. That's why we have the famous St. Charles Avenue, because people could then transport by rail. Then came the car, and then we had Metairie, right? Because people can get further out, and now they can drive out. Not only did they want to be able to drive out to where they could go, they wanted to be able to also experience places for a short period of time and then come back. And so the invention was to create recreational vehicles that allowed you to go out and recreate somewhere else for a little while and then come back. At the beginning, there were absolutely no rules with regard to RVs. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of transportation, there were no rules with regard to stop signs, stop lights. You see some in the 1900s, you can see photos in San Francisco where you have trains and cars and horses all in the same road and there are no rules. So that was one, at one point, that didn't work very well. And so we started to create rules. And in the turn of the century also, people started saying, wait a minute, we need to have certain standards. And so as RVs we started to become popular, around the 60s and the 70s, these are a few decades after we have the car, and now RV parks are parking up, and KOA became very popular. That's one of the most popular RV parks in the world. They became very popular. And as a result of these RV parks, there started to be certain issues and problems, like fires and trash and people not wanting RV parks in their area. And so therefore, governments started to create RV regulations. And so now people who want to have protection come to planning commissions who have the authority to exercise control over the general safety and general welfare over the community. We make decisions based upon the safety and general welfare of the community, and we're going to do the same thing here. So the reason that this is in place is so that we can exercise our police jury power to give a recommendation as to what would advance best the general welfare and safety, the health, general welfare, and safety of the community. Those three things, the health, general welfare, and safety of the community. Sorry that that's a long answer, but I say that all to say, it is so that we can advance the health, safety, and welfare of the community.
All right, thank you, Mr. Billiard. And we will, look, we know we 3 o'clock on a Thursday, so we're gonna try to keep it, everybody's time is important, so we want to keep that a memory. So I agree with you when it comes to C. So what if we took out the first section all the way up to defining duties? And that way, that eliminates all of the licensing for the owners and operators and all out. How do you feel about that? It still keeps
Are you
the,
asking me or are you asking?
I'm asking you.
Okay, yes, I would like that. But in the same breath, I have to agree with you that the whole organization of the Planning Commission is to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the public. I get that. But regulating and licensing, now I see
Agreed.
that's going to be a little bit more than what we normally would do, because now we're talking about maybe a fee associated with that.
And look, that's why we're here.
That's what I'm concerned about.
I'm
it-
going to leave that to sales tax, right? You guys all get
Right.
occupational licenses from the
We
sales
should,
tax
yeah.
office.
We should.
There's your licensing right
So I
there.
think that kind of gets covered. That's where I was heading.
Correct. And it still leaves in there as far as keeping the parks clean, sanitary. It keeps the rest in there, which everybody should be doing already anyway. That's not costing anybody any money. So everybody's
without that.
okay with well, I'll hit your thing. Yeah.
Okay, so taking out that first sentence, so C would just say defining duties and responsibilities of owners and operators and making recreational vehicle parks clean, sanitary, and fit for temporary human habitation.
Correct.
That's it?
Yeah.
That sounds good?
I'm sure everybody's doing
Okay.
that already.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we'll leave the rest. Everybody seems to be okay. We're gonna roll on. Section 1702. Scope. Anybody has any issues, concerns, anything with that? Again, I think a lot of this, everybody's already kind of doing, so let's just holding people accountable that maybe won't.
Just to be clear, Chris, does everyone have the version that I'm looking at that it
That has my
says
handwritten,
except for locations in the
Yes.
South Terrebonne Development Zone?
yes,
All right. Great.
including the ones that we distributed had out for distribution. And I just want to say, Mr. Wayne had,
Chris, I'm hearing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm hearing people saying you don't see handwritten blue. Okay, so at the end, last thing you have is parish period. We have except for locations in the South Terrebonne Development Zone. If y'all would like to explain that area more, because I'm sure not all of you know what the South Terrebonne Development Zone is.
at the August meeting, we talked about this and it was added on there at that time. So we don't have it's on our GIS map if you want to check, but there's a line that basically runs like just north of Montague and Pointe-au-Chien, just north of Lower Chauvin and Dulac. And, you know, the folks that do a lot of work with the Planning Commission are familiar with it. Basically, if you're south of that line, then you're exempt from having to comply with all the drainage regulations. And so at the meeting in August, we talked about that, and that was something that we added on there at that meeting as a comment, that these regulations would not apply to an RV park located in the South Terrebonne Development Zone. So if you want to see, you could go to our GIS map online and type in the address of your RV park and make sure that that layer is turned on, and you can see what is and what isn't in that zone. Mr. Thibodeau in the August meeting said, okay, well, that may suffice for some of the folks in the southern areas of the parish, but it does nothing for any of the rural areas in the northern areas of the parish. There is no such thing as a North Terrebonne Development Zone. So and Mr. Wayne's not here. I just know that that was something that was on his mind. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. And just for everybody's understanding too, I mean, this is typically was being handled at the review committee level for the Planning Commission, the Subdivision Regulation Review Committee. But at the August meeting, it was discussed by the planning commissioners that, I mean, you can only have you can't have more than 4 people and 4 commissioners at those committee meetings. And so the rest of the commissioners kind of felt like they wanted to be involved at the, you know, at the level, the working level discussion. So we said, okay, well, we'll just call for a special meeting. And there's another one that's going to be in October 8th. So just know, guys, that, you know, if whether we get through all these today or we get through half and then we do the second half on October 8th, that's fine. But then at the end, you know, it'll eventually get back to the regular meeting at the Planning Commission in October, and we'll see where it goes from there. And it may go on to the council, or it may stay with the Planning Commission for a bit longer. It just depends on how far along we get and how everybody's feeling. So just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, so 1702 scope. Anybody have any issues and they see the modifications that that Chris made? Everybody's okay with that? All right, moving on. 1703 definitions. This is in to do with the FEMA temporary housing. I don't think it affects anybody in here. Anybody have any issues with section 1703, the FEMA housing?
The first one says FEMA temporary housing.
Gotcha.
If you keep flipping, it defines everything that is every term being used in this chapter. So you know, park and mobile recreation vehicles permitted, primary residence, and they're, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, they're the same definitions that are regularly used by TPCG.
So anybody want to come up in that section and want to remove something? I would like to go into where it says recreational vehicle RV park. I know in there it talks about placement of 3 or fewer. I would like to change that to 1 or 2 or more, I think is the way it needs. 2 or more. Just anybody. Name and address first.
Timmy Fungi, 369 Tulip Drive, Houma, Louisiana. What about the person that can't afford a house? Again, what about
What section is that in?
this section we on?
The first part?
1703.
The first
What
part,
about the person that can't afford a house, that's living north to South Terrebonne, that gets wiped out for a hurricane, class 5 smokes Houma, Mulberry ain't got a flood levy, Mulberry gets wiped out. What about the person that can't afford a $400,000 RV that parks in Mulberry? What about me? What if I can't afford I mean, this is taking my way of living. Oh, I can't live in my driveway because I got 8 foot of water in my driveway because the levee board didn't put $1 million levee around my house. I'm getting smoked. I'm going to be taking the brunt of all of Buyer Black. Me. That's my backyard. The home and Ab's gonna build up, By Lord's got a 10-foot levee, Cocodree's got a 10-foot levee, Pointshan's got the Morganza, Timmy Fungy shit out of luck. I'm taking the hit. All my neighbors get to swim. They ain't got no more life. They paying $8,000 a year right now insurance. How you gonna afford somebody's insurance? You can't afford a house. I'm just asking, cause that's what y'all doing right there.
So
I can't afford it.
What's in place, there's already things in place actually right now that you may not be aware of.
Okay, so if there was an event and whether it's the state, like GOSUP issued their travel trailers or FEMA would have their direct housing program, these regulations would not apply to those because every year the parish president sends in a statement to the governor's office that says, in the event of a disaster, if the state provides temporary housing, then all land use regulations do not apply.
So
That's
get
what-
rid of this law, cause this law
This is
doesn't
not a
matter.
law. This is simply just a
no, no,
definition, Tim.
this-
This is just a
Chris,
definition.
I'm not getting personal with you.
I know you're
I'm
not.
talking about 500 people down the bar that don't have the economic value to come here and talk to y'all. You talk about 5 meetings? Bro, how you gonna take a woman off an oxygen machine that's living in front of the jail, come up here and ask y'all, hey, what about me? What's my mom?
But we're talking about the FEMA temporary housing
I'm
unit.
talking about people that can't make it here. I'm here talking for the people that can't make it here.
Do you have a revision that we can put over here? Is there like,
Just get rid of this one.
okay, so but what exactly? You want the FEMA temporary housing unit completely
Just
good
get rid of that.
but that's just a definition of a FEMA temporary housing unit.
Get rid of it.
But this is just saying
You
what,
don't need it. You arguing a point of needing it. You don't need
no,
it. We
I'm
don't
not
need
saying we need it. I'm just saying that it's
it. You
just
don't need it. Get rid of
the
it.
definition.
Get rid of the whole piece of just get rid of that.
Okay, what are your all thoughts on the definition of FEMA temporary housing unit?
Yeah, it's literally a definition.
Yeah, it's not something you,
It's
It says if you change any rules or whatever, we got to come to y'all first. So all these rules, that's what I'm trying to say. Every new rule you put in front of a person that doesn't have the ability to live already, you're making another hurdle, Mike. I mean, how many hurdles does it take to kill Terrebonne Parish?
what's the time? Too?
We're
I wanna make
on the
sure.
definition.
Past time.
We're on
All
the
right.
I know we
definition
on
section.
definitions. I mean, it's a hurdle, bro. It's whenever you go.
We're simply defining words.
So
We're
What's the use
defining
in
what
having this
a
meeting?
temporary. We're going through it.
We're going section
All right.
by section.
All right. So that's a definition of what a FEMA temporary housing unit is. Okay. When you go down to recreation vehicle RV park, a little bit further down, it calls out for 3. I would like to change that to 2 or more.
Wait, Robbie. Sorry, just to be clear, it says that the placement of 3 or fewer shall not constitute an RV park. So what
Correct.
exactly 2 or more shall not constitute an RV park?
Should.
Okay,
Should.
so 1 or fewer shall not constitute an RV, or
Correct.
one shall not constitute an RV park.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's to eliminate some properties that have 3, 4, 5 RV parks and they're not considered an
Sure.
RV park.
Yeah.
But yet you go down some areas and they are. So that's to eliminate some of that. Clean up the parish a little bit. So it's designing 1 RV park per property, unless you're a designed RV park.
1 RV park.
One RV.
1 RV, I'm sorry.
Okay.
1 RV.
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Thank you for clarifying. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? I know that people had previously had thoughts that they wanted 4 or fewer instead of 3. So it was recommended that instead of 3 or fewer, it says 1. So if anyone has anything to say, please step forward.
Any objections with that?
The definitions, recreation vehicle, RV park. It's on page 3, second to last definition. I guess not.
All right. So 2 or more.
if it's not written as 2 or more, you have to like change the wording.
Yeah,
What we would do is change that sentence to
Okay.
read placement of 2 or more recreational vehicles for one's own use on a single parcel, whether owned or leased, shall constitute an RV park.
We can write it like that.
That's how we would revise it.
Works.
If that's the number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, yes.
Two or more, and then take out the word not. And then obviously the blue writing would go away as well. It has been suggested it would go out.
And then just because it carries on, I just want to bring up the last two, see if they have any issues there. Again, I think some of this is already in place as well. The service building, is it required to have a service building in an RV park in Terrebonne right now?
Well, again, this is just a
You're right,
definition.
you're right, I'm sorry, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
and whether you're required to have one depends on a number of factors, but this is just defining what it is.
You're right, I forgot, correct. Okay, section 1704, recreational vehicle. Anybody have any issues with that section? Does that affect anyone? All right, we'll leave it. Doesn't affect anybody. We've already taken out section 1706, recreational camps. That's been removed already.
Do you want to offer if anyone wants to put it back? I don't know. I don't remember why we removed it, but if anyone wishes for it
I
to
say
stay,
take out as much as we don't need.
I don't disagree with that, Robbie.
All right, 1707, recreational vehicle parks. This is where we're getting a little more detail. Yes, sir.
Hold on, hang on.
Name and address.
You turned it off, Chris.
Gene Milford with Milford Associates, 1538 Polk Street. On 1707, in that first paragraph, it does talk about that the RV park shall be subject to the Houma Terrebonne Regional Planning Commission, the zoning compliance, permitting approval, and shall conform to the following standards. I would ask that y'all double check, because it is my understanding that the Planning Commission's task is the creation of legal lots of record, and that's where it stops. And then the zoning compliance is only in the zoned areas of the parish. And outside of the zoned areas of the parish, the zoning commission doesn't really have any authority, to my understanding. So before you proceed with that, or at least you may want to double check with legal, because you may be walking on shaky ground.
Yeah, that's a
So that
good
was
point.
my only points.
I don't believe in the draft, we have anything where, like for a mobile home park where they say, for example, an applicant would come before the planning commission and go through the process and at the end get an approval, right? That's not in here.
Yep.
So yeah, I think you could consider striking the planning commission from that and then changing the zoning compliance to be zoning compliance when applicable. Because like Mr. Jean said,
Is
most
that,
of the parish is not zoned.
I agree, Chris.
Zoning compliance when applicable,
Right.
redundant.
There's nothing for the Regional Planning Commission to approve in this situation, so we can strike that and, like Chris said, change the zoning compliance wording.
So can I ask, you had said, you said that the people who are going to build mobile home parks do have that process where they come before. Why wouldn't it be for RVs?
That just wasn't part of the draft.
Well, then perhaps there should be a consideration of that being the case. Because if it would, unless there's a really good explanation
I don't think
as
it's
to
needed.
why we would do it, well then why would we need it for the mobile home parks? It's needed for the same reason. And
One's
so
living-
therefore,
one's
what's
living
that reason?
quarters.
I'm sorry?
Well, one's living quarters.
According to them, all of this is living quarters.
So if it's necessary for the mobile home park, we need it here.
Legally, I mean, as long as y'all tell me which one way or the other, I'm fine changing the wording or requiring it, but then like Chris said, we provide some kind of application process, so y'all just
I say,
give word on that. And obviously, again, we can speak on this more when more people are here in October.
I say for that item, my vote is to take it out.
Mike, what was your thoughts? I can make a note of y'all different thoughts, and then we can revisit it at the next special meeting if y'all like.
My thoughts are to really understand the reason that it is contained in the mobile home park and that should not be disregarded.
Okay.
I'd also like to add that what gives us any legitimacy for this document? What if we don't give approval for it? What's the point of having the document? If you decide to start a mobile home park tomorrow and you don't adhere to any of these rules in this document, what gives us any authority to say that you should be open or closed, or if you're in compliance or out of compliance?
There's still permitting approval through Chris's department. So, I mean, they have to fulfill the proper requirements, or obviously they're not going to be allowed to have their RV parks. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
You mean like what's the point of the rule if we're not going to follow it? You know, if we're not going to watch over it?
Yeah.
Chris's department, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I mean, y'all still have to apply. They have to apply for the permits, and you all have to grant the permits.
Right.
And there's going to be inspections of, and we haven't gotten to that point, but if it does pass, the setback requirements and the separation requirements and the agriculture requirements and everything else. So,
Yeah, any of these standards that, you know, become effective, it would be my department that would go down and inspect before the park opens, before the RV park opens, to ensure that all whatever requirements that need to be there are met. But that's something that we would do administratively, you know, through the permit office. But I mean, whether it goes, it wouldn't necessarily have to come back to the planning commission unless that's something y'all wanted to do. And you know, like with the mobile home parks, there are two types of mobile home parks. There's a major and a minor mobile home park, because two or more mobile homes on the same tract of land, same lot, constitutes a mobile home park. But 5 or fewer is a minor, and the standards of development are different for a minor mobile home park than for a major. But both of them have to come before the planning commission through the whole process: conceptual, preliminary, engineering, final. Personally, I think that's a bit much for the
Agreed.
minor mobile home parks. And so that's one of the things on our wish list, is to look at changing that procedure for minor mobile home parks. And I would say that if you guys were to want to see something like that, some sort of procedural element in here that you guys give final approval on, then I would say that we could use that as a basis for the minor mobile home park approval.
So Mr. Smith,
Make it
so,
easier.
So my concern is, since the mobile home regulations went into play, Terrebonne Parish has one new mobile home park since that been enforced. So the last thing I want to do is kill the RV park world like the mobile home has. So what the mobile homes started doing was, if you look now what they did in Gray and even towards Shreva, what they do now is they sell each individual property. They no longer put them to rent. That way they don't have to go through the regulations. So trying not to regulate the RV park like the mobile homes were done, because then we're going to kill that industry. So trying to put some things in place to hold everybody accountable, but at the same time, not trying to kill them with regulations. You know, that's kind of where I'm at. All right,
Wait.
go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
so just from my understanding, and Chris, I think you answered my question, but so if we leave in that it's subject to the Home of Terrebonne Regional Planning Commission approval, I guess, per se, if they go through all the permitting process, everything's approved, they still have to come to us to get the final approval if you leave the verbiage in there.
Well, it was really a good catch that Gene had with that, because it says, it says the subject to the Home of Terrebonne Regional Planning Commission, and under violations, revocation of park approval, it says the Planning Commission, upon recommendation of the Director of Planning and Zoning for the parish, shall have the authority to revoke its approval for recreational vehicle park. But no, I'm sorry. 1709 is where you guys have the application.
So
if
it
it's-
is there.
It is there.
So for 1707, if we mark that out, that it's subject to the
Yeah.
planning commission approval, then they get all the permits, they go through the process, then they're good to go. If we take it
Yeah.
out, if we leave it in, they get all the permits, everything is approved, they still have to come to us to get approval, final
Right,
approval. Is what you're saying.
1709B.
Is that the difference?
It's
Yes.
I guess
Yes?
I had
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm
a
gonna.
brain
Like I said, my vote is to take it out. If they go
senior,
through
I had a senior
permitting,
So
moment.
then we would
I
take out
just turned 52.
1709, Robbie.
got it.
Yeah, if you wanted to take it out, but then we'd have to go back through the rest of
Correct.
the document and pull out little references to
Yes.
1709.
Yep. So again, I made a note, Chris and I can discuss it more, and then we can talk about it at the next special meeting to try to, further discuss why we would or would not need that.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, taking that out would speed up that process a little bit, and basically it's just pulling a permit and going through the permit process, and then
It does say in 1709B that conceptual preliminary engineering phases may be combined. So basically, it's just a one-stop, like a one-and-done type of deal.
right?
That was the
think that's fair.
idea.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So basically, they come here and Chris, do they have everything? Yes, they do. Okay,
Bam.
approved.
Like any other.
Like
Exactly.
any other.
I like it like that. All right, anything else in 1707? There's some details in C for all the RV park owners. Some of y'all, I read through it. It looks like a lot of y'all, I seen your park. It looks like a lot of y'all already have that. Any issues in the blue section? All right.
Robbie, did you? Okay, so we're 1707, right?
Yes, sir.
Density, we're good. 1707A about density. Did everybody's okay with that? Setbacks.
Come up and name and address.
Joey Vernon, 204 Constant Street, Homer.
Thank you.
So the density, so you're saying we can't have the campers back to back? They have to be 10 feet apart if we add another row? So what is the Civic Center gonna do for Mardi Gras? When those campers are piled up on top of each other?
That's not an RV
Well-
park.
Well, basically it is.
Well, hang on. We can answer that easy. I mean, let's say it is an RV park, right? It's in the zoned areas. Campgrounds are a permitted use in C2 zoning, so it's permitted. And all the other RV parks today are also permitted, and everything would be grandfathered in.
Until I add on.
The area that you add on would have to adhere to the 10-foot spacing, but it wouldn't mean that any portion of the existing park would. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's
when
the explanation.
if the Civic Center changes something in their parking lot, then they're gonna have to abide by the same rules as this.
Where you gonna get 1,000-foot driveway from?
Well, again, it's grandfathered in, guys.
Okay.
Just like yours are going to be grandfathered in, so is the Civic Center. And if they do something that then would go sideways against that, well, then guess what? The parish will have to submit an application too, just like anybody else.
Couldn't you ask for it?
That's it. That's all I have.
And yes, variances could be requested.
Okay.
Yeah. In these regulations, there is a section for variances, so. Section 1711, but.
Okay,
Name and address.
Connie Forey, 201 Maisami Lane, Chauvin, Louisiana. So I have a part of my park that's in the more, that's stopped, that's halted, that I can add more campers. Can't do it the way I have it now because I'm at a halt. So I'm grandfathered for the 60 that I have. So you're telling me now this new section I can't do the back-to-back? Again, the property was bought in phases. I'm doing it. So I can't do how I've been doing it. Again, property was bought prior to all of this, doing in phases.
The backside to be closer.
And I know we cannot say again, funds being an issue, but funds are definitely an issue to move forward.
Back to back versus side to side.
Yeah, I mean,
What
if
do you suggest?
I bought my property,
we've had
commercial,
we had
It's
mobile
already
home
like the
park
perimeter.
do the you know, they had additional
Or do
property.
back to back?
I don't know when they acquired it, but that new phase that he
Really
did,
can.
he
I
had
don't agree
to
with it,
adhere to
but-
the new mobile home park
I feel like-
standard, so the same thing would apply here.
and again, this moratorium put in place for what reason?
That's the only reason that was.
Again, and I get, it's not,
Not-
it's not y'all, I get it, it's not y'all. But a moratorium is put in place hurting us, for me moving forward.
So that
I'm caught
moratorium
between-
ends,
I used to have the
October?
exact date. No, I think it's,
it was 90 days.
I think I told you exactly. I think it's November 4th or something like that.
Yeah, it was 90
Still in-
days
It's,
or,
it's 90 days from the signing of the moratorium, which was, I can get you the exact date. I
Or
can,
until you guys came up with.
whichever's first.
Right.
The 90 days seems to be the one that's going to happen first.
yeah, I
Because
don't,
we don't meet again to act on this until our regular
no,
October
the
meeting.
moratorium was 90 days until they're adopted by the council.
Yes.
So this thing is gonna
not
still
gonna
be
be-
probably
that's-
with the planning commission
That's what
by
I
the
was tr-
time the
yeah, that's what I
moratorium
meant.
ends.
I meant
don't
that
see it going.
I don't even know if it'll be past the planning commission phase by the end of the 90 days. I really don't see the council having approved or denied it by the end of the 90
And
days.
again, meantime, I'm stopped. I'm dead in my tracks,
So
not moving forward.
what's your suggestion on the back-to-back versus the 10-foot?
I mean, if I can get more out of my property, it's my property to do it. If I want to put them back to back, family might want to go back to back, they might want door to door. You know, you have apartment complexes back to back, side to side, you have a duplex. It's no different.
Well, structures have to be at least 10 feet apart.
22, isn't it? I
10
think it's
feet.
10.
10 feet
I thought
is
it
a
was 20.
minimum separation between structures for basically fire code reasons. Now, we have zoning setbacks for other reasons, but the side yard setbacks, for example, are 5 typically, and the reason for that is that way 5, this person's 5, the next person's 5, so you got 10. There's your 10.
Well, mine is back to back, but it's like,
So how far
Yes,
apart are
staggered.
they if they're back to back?
it's staggered. Like if you have one here, then you have one here.
Right, so what's the
Offset.
what is the separation between
20,
them? I mean, they're not touching.
No. I don't have-
I'm like her, I'm trying to use as much property as I could, but I haven't.
Well,
I mean,
I'll say something.
Is 5, would 5 be better? 6, 8? I mean,
I'm sure they 5.
us a number.
I'm sure it's 5 on a natural. I'm sure they not bumper to bumper, huh? You
Yeah.
can pass
Yeah.
in between.
You can pass between them, but I mean, it's still, it's,
For fire, it would be, fire has to me, you'd want 5 foot, one catches on fire, and you can catch the other one on fire.
true.
So if the fire hazard is such that it has been found that 10 feet of separation from
each other.
each other or from houses or whatever is the best minimum amount that
feet.
should, if 10 feet, if that's the minimum amount that the fire experts find is safe for our community, why should we, as a group who is designed to protect the safety of the community, go less than that?
We
What about
we wouldn't be able to.
You can't go. because
We
the
can't
fire
we
has a
can't
lot.
have less, we can have more restrictive, but we can't supersede, state fire code or any
Yeah.
of those things.
Chris
So
is right. They
it's-
wouldn't
so
be
it's-
valid if they were less. They wouldn't be valid.
So it's going to
Because
be
we-
10 feet.
Yeah.
Well, I think how about we do this? How about we triple check what the fire code minimum separations are
For the campers, may have a
for
separate.
campers, for RVs, and make sure that we're aligned with that at the minimum.
I'll make a note in there and we can check that for the next special meeting.
Awesome. Anything else while you up here?
Not yet.
Okay, good. That's what
Come
we
back.
love to hear.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else has, so we can put a pin in that, make sure it's 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, name, address.
Might as well just leave it green.
Well, it's a timer thing.
Okay. Gene Milford, Milford and Associates, 1538 Polk Street. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. In the fire separation distances, generally speaking, 10 feet from the nearest property line or imagined property line between buildings. There is some differences when you get into Chapter 5 in the IBC as well as in FPA 101, when they start talking about your building construction. But those are generally speaking fixed structures. I think you're probably correct, Mr. Pulaski, that there might be some additional verbiage dealing with mobile type structures. However, what caught my attention with this, it was talking about 10 feet, and when we go into, talked about the spaces, and I forgot exactly what section it is here, talking about the minimum space being at 24 feet wide. If your space is 24 feet wide and you have to come in 10 feet from one side and 10 feet from another side, the most that you're allowed is the 14 foot on the inside to put the structure. A lot of people will put an RV camper and they build a structure, an awning, immediately adjacent to the camper so you can step out of the camper onto some sort of deck or something like that, keep your feet dry underneath the camper. Most deer camps are done like that, recreational type structures. So we may have a bit of a verbiage issue that needs to be looked at, especially when we talk about other structures. May need to define other structures or something like that. So there may be, in addition to finding out what that separation distance actually needs to be, but may need to think about how that verbiage is written.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I do not have a suggested solution for you at this time.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, you could read that to say, all right, well, if the space, let's say the space is a minimum 24 feet wide, or it's 24 feet wide, if you got to be 10 feet from the side or rear line defining the individual space, so now you got 14 feet, but then you have the other side, so 10 feet, so now you got 4 foot. I don't know of any RVs that are 4 foot wide. So, yeah, I think
So-
we need to look at that language and clean that up too. Yeah.
I mean, also too, I wouldn't even put any verbiage as far as it talks about the awning and all. I wouldn't get into all of that. Correct. Yeah, I would leave that out.
I think that's more.
It just says other structures.
Yeah.
I think that's in 7. If I believe- correct, Chris?
Yeah, we need to make sure that that's written to where awnings are not counted.
I believe it's in 7 over here. Let me see.
Take out G. Line can
Shall not exceed 75% of the area of its individual space.
Got it.
Yeah, I think we need to adjust that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like.
Yep.
I think we should look at adjusting that bit too, that 75%, because, I mean, why couldn't that awning, whether it's a stand-aside
Right.
canopy or the kind that
Rolls out.
roll out, I mean, why not have that go to the edge of the space?
Correct.
I think the 75 should be limited to the, well, and whether or not it stays 75, I guess, is also up for discussion, but would only really be relative to the actual RV itself.
How would the RV be 6 feet wide?
Right. Doesn't make sense.
All right. Put a pin in that, adjust that. All right, moving on. If y'all okay with it, next page, landscaping buffer. Let's dig into some of that. I think it's a little excessive. Perfect. Yes, sir. Name, address. Chris, Mike, please.
Oh, sorry.
You good?
We're getting on the landscape. We're good with the access and driveway?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh,
thought
okay.
y'all was moving
I
on.
thought we were going down the line, but we
Yes,
kind of
we were.
went back and forth.
Which one are you speaking on?
So-
Access?
Okay.
1707C.
Shoot.
You know, I like to be I like to reserve a little bit of right to come back at a later date and talk about that, because I totally agree with what you're trying to do. You're trying to stop it from going through a neighborhood. Totally agree with that. That should never happen. But when you're pulling out, because we have elongated bayous and a lot of other communities, there's virtually hardly any areas that you're going to find that doesn't have a street that comes on to the major arterial, like a Highway 55, 56, 57. And then you have to put if you're large enough, you might have to have an egress, which could, now you're talking two. So now you're even closer to your neighboring streets. I'm just saying that might, I know what you're trying to achieve, but because of the topography and the way our bayous are created, this will probably pose some problems to some properties, a lot of properties actually. And I think you may have to have some sort of variance process.
That's what I was about to ask you. What's your
You know,
suggestion?
do you
on that?
understand what, I'd like to think about it a little more.
Okay.
I mean, we do have a variance process. We haven't gotten to that section
Okay.
yet, but there is
Alright.
one. I mean, there's pretty much every regulation, you're gonna have variance processes and appeals and so forth.
Okay.
But Kevin, I mean, we have the October 8th, we're gonna have another meeting
I'm
just
gonna
like
review it
this.
before
So,
then.
so yeah, we got time to dig deeper into that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else? Moving on C, going to D, driveways. Again, I think a lot of RV parks kind of already have D.
Most of them I went to over the last couple of weeks had.
Okay, no issues with D. All right. E, landscaping. I think we need to make some adjustments in there. Anybody got some ideas what would be better on landscaping E versus what's written in there?
I mean, I'll point out, subsection EVII, just in lieu of landscaping, you know, another type of buffer, like a fence of some type. I mean, certainly, it's been brought up that if you have landscaping, again, if you're in the South Development Zone, you don't have to adhere to these regulations, but, you know, you could end up with, you know, landscaping that gets destroyed but, you know, so would a fence. But at least it gives an option, and that's how it is in our zoning too. You know, at least in some areas, you know, you could have where we have a buffer requirement, like between commercial use and residential use. You can use a landscape hedge to be your buffer, or you can use any sort of solid privacy type fence. And you could also even use a chain link fence that has those plastic slats that go in there for privacy purposes.
In those ordinances, what is the height requirement?
Well, the shrubs, it's 6 foot. Fences can be as high as 8. That's the max height for a solid privacy fence is 8. Well, the minimum height, it really varies. I mean, 6 is what would be required for as far as the buffer goes. But if you get into somebody's front yard, like if they're putting a fence in their front yard, the maximum height of the fence for a solid fence in someone's required front yard, which is that first 20 feet, is 4. But if you're within 15 feet of any driveway, the maximum height for a solid fence is 3. And that's because of line of sight. You know, if you've got a car backing out of their driveway, they need to see oncoming traffic or kid on a bike or whatever, and vice versa. But that's the intent behind those. I think the intent here is more of the buffer, right? And just kind of like what we have in our major corridor overlay districts, just having landscaping along the street frontage, just from a aesthetic.
Yeah, and I see the adjustments that's already been made in here too. And this doesn't affect South Terrebonne either, correct?
Right. Well, none of these would.
Right.
I mean, if they're in the south, whether it's an existing RV park or a brand new one, if it's in the location of it is within the South Terrebonne Development Zone, they just go get the permits like they do now.
Got it. Okay. All right. We got going to F, open spaces and recreation.
I mean, how do y'all feel about that one? I mean, do you guys have like open, common areas and stuff like that, or people don't use it? So, what I have seen too is language like when provided, blah 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 blah, right? So it doesn't require that you have this open space area, but at least there's some standard or some minimum standard for when you do provide one, it's of a size that's sufficient. I mean, how would y'all feel about that? Mm. Right. Yeah.
Chris, every law that y'all making right here, just telling me, just crushing the parish. And him himself said, there's only been one RV park built one trailer park last 15 years. Y'all killing everybody's opportunity to even live in their own property. We ain't got a chance to tear with parish.
Chris, I had a question. Button. So, I
It went off again.
yeah, I've been thinking about the open space and recreation. So, I guess hypothetically, if someone has space to add one more RV to their RV park, so but they're not grandfathered in, so they apply for one more space. Are they then stuck to then also create a 250 square foot recreational vehicle space because they wanted to add one more RV to their park? Does that make sense? Is the answer yes?
I know the question you're asking.
Yeah.
I'm searching for the answer.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So
We'll try to get you to come back up to the mic too, just to keep order.
Yeah,
Good idea,
Becky's gonna
Robbie.
get angry because
Yeah.
we're not talking into the mic.
Yeah. So the planning commission would be open to a variance in a situation that I just explained.
Should we take that section out completely?
No, I mean because it still allows for in 45 years when someone wants to create a brand new RV park, I think it might be beneficial for a recreational space to exist. But I was just saying, I felt a certain way about someone that is grandfathered in, but then wants to add two more RVs to the back end of their property. But they don't have 250 feet to create,
Or add the language you said?
Yeah,
Chris had a good point about the variances, so
it's
answered
kind
my
of a
question.
market-driven feature, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like
it is.
maybe I want to put it in because I want my RV park to stand out from all the rest. So
Yeah.
look, I can advertise as, hey, look, I've got these common areas that people can use, and that
Mhm.
might attract certain RVers to my park.
Don't
But
force it.
if somebody has an RV park that's really geared to fishermen, let's say, who don't care about a picnic table and all that,
And they're not
then
gonna look for one.
it kind of puts an unnecessary burden on those folks. So I kind of like the when provided,
Okay.
I
et
like
cetera,
that
I can
et
add
cetera.
that.
I
And
like
then
that
it,
too.
hold on a sec.
Have one, but if you're gonna have
Yeah,
It's not forced.
right.
If you're gonna have one, it's.
Joey Vernon, 204 Constance. I agree with it. You know, I like to have it, but there's a lot of times we running on a budget. You know,
Yeah.
we might have enough money to add a few more spots, but then we can't add this other little piece. I got 3 or 4 acres down there. You know, they got a lot of room to roam. Most of the time, they just sit at a picnic table. I got a dock by the bayou they sit at. So, you know, not forcing it on us would make it a lot easier.
Perfect.
You know.
Awesome.
I think when provided, it's a good idea. I can put that in for the next
Right.
special meeting so that we have that in there.
Yeah.
Progress. That's what we're here. Okay, so I think we got everything. Landscaping already has adjustments on it.
Just it's 4 o'clock. Just time check.
What time we shutting this?
4:30.
Okay. All right. We're gonna try to roll through unless somebody got an issue. H signs.
Wait. Lance. Yeah, we skipped G.
I said G. I just G landscaping again. All right, no issues. Signs. I think most people have that too when it comes to signs. All right. Site plan. Any issues with site plan? That kind of stuff just makes us better in 911 and everything else.
Well, it just, I mean, we have site plan requirements for the mobile home parks, site plan requirements for subdivisions, for PUDs. I mean, it's just site plan requirement for every permit. I mean, we just need to be able to, basically, it's just a nice, the only method that we have to ensure that all of the requirements are gonna be there so that y'all can review it and understand it.
Yes, ma'am. Name and address.
On the site plan, will we have to have that engineered? Or will it stay as us doing them, as we've done them before?
So it's not engineered now?
They
And
have to
the
be-
way it's written right now, it's by a Louisiana licensed land surveyor or professional engineer.
We did not have to have that for ours. Again, we have to go through the state, so we have to get past Courtney.
That,
with,
for the
uh,
board, for the Board of Health
For the Board of
side.
Health and all, for sewage and DEQ.
Uh-huh.
We have to bring our plans in.
So who,
And
somebody,
that is
but
a
you have to have
cost.
you have to have
Yeah.
somebody's drawing it though, right? So
We
you-
can draw it ourselves, that's how it's laid out. Again, engineering, and how expensive that can be, and we're just,
Yeah, Gene.
said no name.
Yeah.
You know, we did it ourselves. I mean, that's, and I think it's been pretty good since 2007 again. We have to do our own plumbing and everything else. Electrical. Of course, I have electrician.
So I guess Chris, on the permit side, when they coming through now, y'all have enough detail in the plans for the permitting? to
Well,
go
I mean,
through?
we don't. If somebody's going to be building a structure like a home or a commercial building, some permits require that the plans be stamped by
Right.
an architect or an engineer or what have you. But when folks are, say, putting in a fence or they're building a shed in their backyard or they're widening their driveway, any of those kinds of things, I mean, swimming pools, I mean, that stuff, oftentimes the homeowner's drawing it. Some draw better than others. As long as all of the information is there and is legible, then we'll roll with it. But if it's not there or if it's not legible, it slows it down, slows the process down, because now we got to go chase down the applicant because we can't read their handwriting or it's missing some piece of information. So having it prepared by, the professional ensures that all of that information is clear and legible and present on the plan.
Yeah, I could see how
But-
that could get nasty and just beat down the permit officer and going back to the same person over and over and over again, trying to get them to get it right.
It's not that
I
hard.
mean,
Did you have that plan?
See yours?
Why don't, would you guys would any of you have an example of a site plan that y'all have put together? Kevin, I know you've sent us some.
Name, address.
Kevin Belanger, 323 Highway 55. Listen, I know why you have it, because it does occasionally happen when people come in with napkins with drawings on
Yeah.
it, okay?
Yeah.
Require that it has to be legible and all items that are listed be a part of it. I do agree that having a licensed engineer or an architect, landscape architect, put that together, it could be costly. I think it should be a subjective matter provided to you that required licensing, required engineered plans or landscape architects may be requested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But don't make it mandatory, because I think you'll see
I like
that
that.
mostly everybody here
I like that.
can draw that.
That's a really good idea. If
Yeah.
if it turns out that the person doesn't do a good job, you can deny it and then require them to get license
Yeah, and
drawings.
leave it up,
It's a happy
to the
medium.
planning director to be able to make that choice. I don't think you're gonna see that become a problem.
Okay.
That's a good
I'm
call.
good with that.
Okay.
I like that idea. That's why we're here. All right, moving on. Jay. Any issues with fire protection? All right. K, health and hygiene. We've already made some adjustments to that section. Everybody okay? Yes, sir.
Oh, wait.
Shay, 323 Highway 55. I don't know, I think Chris may know why this is put into this. You know, the whole chapter of the building codes had this in it because they wanted to make sure that if you have primitive camping, like people that go and camp in tents,
Right.
like a pitch-up tent, they wanted to know that you had a place to go use the restroom, like Grand Isle per se. That's the whole intent behind this being put in. It was never intended so that if everybody shows up with a 48-foot camper with slide outs with the washer, the dryer, and the showers, they weren't expecting for you to have to go and create a facility that was 12 feet in the air,
Right.
that would never get used. It was not for that purpose. I want to tell you that we have an individual that where I work is good. He's on the actual code council. This is one of his pet peeves that he's trying to take and correct, and I have no doubt that it will get corrected. But they have not been meeting because they haven't been able to get a quorum. But I would just say that the way that I would write it is that RV parks may be subject to provide service buildings and sanitary service stations and requirements of the Louis. Don't make it mandated. I think because I think the Board of Health is the requiring agent.
They are.
Right now, the building official has the ability to have a hardship. If you want to continue that, that's fine. But I think if you write it like that, it would give more levity to people not having to do that. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah, and please tell Mr. Witch when he goes up there to get them straight on the definition of dependent and independent.
That's
Because they're
correct.
backwards.
That's-
They've got
that
it
is
all
right.
backwards.
That is right. Thank you.
All spaces may be,
Or put when provided, just like we did the other one. When provided, all spaces shall have access to common facilities.
May be subject.
well, yeah, maybe, because it's not us, it's the
Right. It's
the
gonna be
health
state.
department.
It's gonna be
So
state.
that's gonna do it. The
But
state,
the
will-
health department tells them you have to do it, so that's.
and they have
when
their
provided.
standards.
Yeah, so may be required by the Department of Health.
Okay.
All right, moving on. We got 20 minutes left. I. Any issues with I? Other law and regulations. All right, nothing on I.
The L, actually, that's L.
Is that L?
Yeah.
What is that?
I was
Okay.
a site plan.
All right, section 1708. A, separation of mobile home and recreational vehicles.
And that same language is in our mobile home park regulations too, by the way. Under A.
All right. Yes, sir. Name and address.
Poinson, 103 LeConte Lane, Homer. My trailer park is 65 years old, and we have been putting RVs in it for the last 35, 40 years. And so I think this section pertains to that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it does. But you would be grandfathered in, so however you have them mixed up, you can keep doing it.
Thank you.
All right. Name and address.
Connie 48201 Maisami Lane, Chauvin, Louisiana. Family has a park the same grandfathered in. If he adds to it, he has to separate the two.
Well, right. For what he has now, he's grandfathered in. But yes, if you, sir, were to do an expansion, if you were to create a new area of your park, you would have to separate the RVs and mobile homes in that new area.
That's
Only.
ridiculous. Yeah.
You come back up.
I mean, what's the difference? Why separate it now? Why separate it?
Because we'd have new codes in place. I mean, they should have been separate from the start. It should be mobile homes and campers are two different things.
Then again, it goes back to the same thing. This was placed on something that was not
Right.
your
And
fault.
we're not touching what's in the past. We're only affecting what's this day forward.
You need my name again?
Yes, sir.
All right, Poinson, 103 LeConte Lane, Homer. I have a situation where my RV park and trailer park is in Dularge. And FEMA, in all its infinite wisdom, decided to put us up. My trailers have to go up 10 foot above sea level. I hadn't had a new mobile home move in. I have had call after call after call, but they're not moving in because the height. So I have one trailer space right now that I'm fixing to convert to RV spot.
Gotcha.
So that's gonna fall under you, and you just told me that I couldn't do that.
Well, it's in the existing park, correct?
It's in the existing park.
So that's within the boundaries of the existing park. You can keep mixing it up.
All right.
It's
Right.
just if you were to
Yeah,
expand the
I'll
park
specify
into
that.
a new area, it would be that expanded
Well,
area.
I do have an area that I'm gonna expand into, but that's where all RVs are to start with.
Right.
Correct me if I'm
It's just-
wrong, Chris, but Mr. Lloyd, your location's in the South Terrebonne Development Zone,
Oh, is it?
correct? That down in Dularge?
It's on
yeah.
LeConte Lane and Dularge.
Yeah, LeConte Lane and
think
Dularge
so.
is,
So these don't
so
apply. to
these
you
would
anyway.
not apply to you.
Right.
Okay.
That's
You know,
good news.
But Mr. Malonzo, but your perspectives is still important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point, Mike. We still would love to hear your perspective. But good news to you is that, no, it would not affect you.
So I just want to make
with
sure
the
that
setback requirement.
I understand that correctly. When we're talking about the South Terrebonne Development Zone, that's for every single regulation in here?
this
Yes,
whole
Okay.
thing.
the entire packet.
Okay, I just want to make sure the whole package don't apply.
Yes,
So
everything
one-
below that sentence does not apply.
So back to this A, separation of mobile homes and rec vehicles. This is the recreational vehicle regulations, but this same language is already in existence in the mobile home parks. So if somebody opens up an RV park, they're not going to be bringing in mobile homes. It's RVs. So why do we even have this in here? It's already being handled in the mobile home park regulations. You see what I'm saying?
Correct, yeah, fair.
I think we can just take the whole thing out.
Do it. Take it out.
All right.
Less is better.
We're taking out 1708A.
What if I have an RV park and I decide to buy 6 mobile homes?
Well, then you have a mobile home park. Now you got to come to the planning commission.
All right, going on to B. Restrictions on use.
So this is the 180-day thing, everybody. So please read the bit underlined in green if you're. Oh, sorry.
The part that's in green is when I came here in 2014 to fight the trailer park
Right.
I'm the one that drew that up, and everyone that moves in my park that's in an RV has to sign a form saying they're gonna keep it road ready, and that in the event of a mandatory evacuation, they have to move it. I had one individual that refused to move the RV last time. When the fire department and sheriff department came down the street, I handed them that form, and guess what? The lady had to move her deal. If I wouldn't have had that signed in the beginning, then the RV might have stayed there. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
But that part, that in green, was brought here from me in 2014.
It's good language. And here, because it's in this draft, if this gets approved by the council with that in there, then that technically takes the burden off of you to have your tenants sign it because it's part of the regulations. You could tell them, hey, look, the parish requires this.
I don't have to enforce it.
Right,
Handed the paper to the sheriff and the fire department.
right.
All right, moving on to C.
Shall include, but not limited to, amenities such as. When was the last time you saw a telephone facility?
All right, going to D.
May include, right? Yeah,
Yeah, not shall, may.
Connie 48201 Masonry Lane, Chauvin, again. Coin operated laundry equipment? Or car wash? What is? It's
May. We're changing shall to
Okay,
may.
okay.
We don't have to have it.
Management facility and office has to be on site?
May.
May be on site.
All of it's me?
All
Yes.
of it's may.
The shall and green right before includes can be may, so 1 through 7 will all be may include, not mandatory.
D, parking standards.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one you guys could probably give us a lot of insight on, as far as, obviously you're gonna have a tow vehicle for the travel trailers and fifth wheels and stuff. And maybe a larger one might be pulling a Jeep or some other type of vehicle. What about visitors? Do you have a lot of tenants that have people coming to visit them? So, that's the intent here, is just to provide making sure that there's some place for those folks to park, which you probably want to have anyway. Otherwise, they're potentially taking up another space, right?
So you wanna put may on that one too instead of shall? Like you want them to have one additional space in front of the three,
on that.
not shall? Right? Guest parking may be provided.
If not, your guests will be parked on the roof.
I mean, it was one space for every 3 RV spaces. So, I mean, do the math on that. I mean, you could end up with, you got 24, spaces, that's eight park. That's a parking lot for 8 cars.
Yep.
Is that too much? Sounds like a lot to me. But
Would y'all like to change the 1 for every 3 or just turn shall to may?
Say may.
Okay.
All right. And that's the one I got a lot of calls on. Is this next one is E. E was when the homeowners lit me up.
Yeah, me too.
yeah,
Yes,
we got-
sir. Name, address.
J 323 Highway 55. Look, this kind of goes in line with what I said earlier. We have elongated bayous all over, and there's subdivisions approved up and down. I mean, look, we don't want to be, you're already controlling the access, right? We did that earlier. 1,000 feet. I think that's a little excessive. What's the regulation if you want to put a ballroom next to a church?
300,
300.
300.
300 feet. So here we go, we're over impacting RV parks, and the whole intent
Well,
is,
it's 300, but if it's in a zoned area that's in an overlay district, it's 1,000 feet.
right, but in the rural communities, it's
It'll be
300.
300.
So, I mean, look, I get why we're trying to do this, but 1,000 feet we have approved subdivisions all up and down these bayous, all around Terrebonne Parish. I think 1,000 is excessive. I would offer 300 feet or 500, but I'd prefer 300.
It's probably one thing you and I won't agree on. The rest
That's
we
fine.
have.
That's fine.
Just because my phone lit up the other way with
And
nobody wanting it next to their house.
and I respect that because my focuses have been more or less on the bayou communities.
Right.
And I'm not familiar with the upper reaches of where RV parks are, but I do know where they are in
Right.
the bayou reaches. I just don't know how you're gonna be able to make that work.
So
But
this,
I do appreciate what you're saying in the urban area.
so this would be effective not south of South Terrebonne, correct?
No, it wouldn't
The
affect,
development zone, correct.
it wouldn't affect me.
Right.
But
It
I'm
wouldn't
looking,
affect anybody south Terrebonne side.
well, it would affect some. It doesn't include everybody down in South Terrebonne.
Well,
Correct.
the
He is
exception-
correct. It doesn't affect everyone. We brought it up, I think you brought it up at the last planning commission or some
Bring
kind
up
of
a lot.
meeting. And
Yeah.
no, not you, Angel.
Yeah.
And
Angel?
I think it left
South
off part of down one of the bayous. I just don't remember which
Well,
one.
it's Pointe-au-Champ, but
Pointe-au-Champ, thank
but
you.
Joan checked it and said that that's an error on the
Okay.
map, and she and
So-
Brooke were supposed to be corrected.
So just be clear to everyone, if you have RV park in Pointe-au-Champ, it won't show you covered, but you are covered. The map is mistaken online.
So if I
They
may
may have
just,
corrected it by now.
Specify covered. You said it covered. What you mean?
Encompasses that it is
Except-
inside
except-
the South Terrebonne development. Thank you.
so just to reiterate my position, we're going to allow a bar to be close to a church, but we're not going to allow an RV park to be close to an RV, to a subdivision. That's
So
what,
that's
what.
not a fair comparison. You got a church that's only there on a Sunday, a bar that's only there at night. People live in their home. People in the RV park day and night. That's not.
Oh.
Yeah, just the comparison in that I get where you're at, but I'm not sure that's a fair comparison. That's two different scenarios.
The specific RV parks you're talking about, is that in that South Terrebonne Development Zone? So
Yeah.
it's not technically affected by any of this?
Restate your question?
The RV parks that you're talking about, like down the bayous and all, is that in that South Terrebonne Development Zone?
No, no.
So
There could
they
be
will
other
be-
properties above the zone that would probably have
These
a
regulations?
difficult way to be able to comply with this. In fact, if you're familiar with Montague, Chauvin basically draw a line across Highway 58. You know where that goes from Montague to
Yeah.
Chauvin?
That's the
All
line.
right, well, I don't know what it is. I think it's close to there.
Close to that.
But you draw a line right there. Everybody above would have to comply. Everybody below,
Got it.
everything below has already been developed. The things that are above still have developable areas.
Okay.
So guys, we have 5 minutes left,
So-
and this is probably a good one to kind of stop on. But I want everybody to think about this too. It just occurred to me, an approved subdivision. Okay, well, what if somebody's got a large tract of land, they subdivide it into two, and it gets approved by the planning commission? I mean, and they got two 25-acre tracts, but it went to the planning commission and got approved. Now it's an approved subdivision. I think when we're thinking subdivision, we're thinking like, I was getting calls from the folks in Shriever who were living close to that FEMA group site.
Me too.
And that's a major subdivision, right? So maybe we need to think about that too, and maybe we need to look at, take a closer look at what we mean by approved subdivision or subdivision.
So what's your definition of a subdivision?
Well, it'd be any lot that's subdivided. I mean, whether it's a minor subdivision that's take one large lot and make two, or you take one large lot and make 200, it's still a subdivision.
I agree with that. We definitely could get in some detail on that.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at like, neighborhoods.
Well, I want to say something generally. I want to say something generally with regard to that
Put your mic on, please.
um, because we're looking at it, and apparently there's some like we don't want that kind of people don't want trailers or RVs around their neighborhood, but that's because they haven't been regulated. If they had been regulated properly, such that we have plush, landscaped, beautiful Yogi Bear Park type of RV parks, then they would be those types of establishments that are more like golf courts or parks that people want around their houses. Right? You want that kind of plush, well manicured stuff around the property. If we regulate properly, that's what people will have in their minds and when they think about RV parks. You're talking about RV parks that are poorly run because they're not regulated. The answer to that is not to not regulate them. That's what led to the problem. So there is a idea that we're keeping these things from people's houses, but that's because we have in mind the kind of establishments that exist when you don't regulate them. So I just want to say that generally, right? If we regulate these properties properly, those properties are going to become properties you want to be around. That's what we're trying to regulate into existence. So I just want to say that generally speaking. It's not something we want to avoid. Certainly, it's not something we want to regulate.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that generally.
Thank you, Mr. Billiard. Yes, sir.
Statement if I can. So we mentioned the park in the north near New Isles. I think that's what you're referring to. That is going to go away. That the property owners are selling the property for a subdivision, actually. And, I don't know, and I've asked this question. Look, I have immense respect for all of y'all that are on this because you serve basically, and all you get is negatives. You don't get accolades. I get that.
That's true.
But I got to tell you, we got to sit back and think. And I applaud y'all for trying to do this, and I think it's going to work. Y'all have been very receptive to everyone here, and I think this is going to go forward. But I want us to keep our eyes on what we should be doing. And you struck a nerve with me by saying what you did. I don't know of a RV park today that is intrusive to anyone, a large RV park. What I see in my community, and I'm appalled by it, are the number of RVs that are just slapped up on people's property. That is where the problem is.
I agree with that.
And thank God for the change that you made for two or more, because you were going to extremely get more RVs all over the place, because what you were doing was setting us up for more RVs to go on smaller lots. So we're heading all in the right direction. And I think what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to be amenable to doing things that are going to make Terrebonne look good. We all know why this whole you had this started way before the political incident. Let's just call it that. But we're finally going to get a subdivision regulations to regulate RV parks by the biggest one you made change today was that one.
Yes, sir.
Minimizing, if somebody has a hardship and they need to put a camper in their yard to live in, they still can.
Right. Agreed.
But if they're going to take a camper and put 3 in their yard and let 4 or 5 family members move in, that's different.
Agreed.
And that is what we're seeing.
And just to clarify too, like there were some families that had 2 travel trailers or 2 FEMA mobile home units that were allocated to them on their single piece of property because they had a big family,
Right.
and they couldn't all fit in one.
Right. Well, that could
And
be
that
an
would still
exception.
be that would still be allowed because this all bets are off in an emergency.
In a hurry, yeah, and
Yes.
we understand that.
Yep.
But in regards to what you're trying to achieve, is the people that are here want to provide good, healthy spaces for people to be able to go to if they want to recreate or be transient. But Again, I want to go back and make sure that we all understand that we're not trying to beat down the RV parks, the big ones.
Agreed.
And I don't even think it should be called a big one if you got 3 or more. It's not really
Right.
big, but it's termed a big RV park. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So that is a great place to stop. Oh, sorry, one more comment. Yes, ma'am.
201 Mesa Me. With Chris, I had discussed this with you as already. Board of Health required it's only 2 or more campers. With Courtney, you know, what I mean, to help you guys out, it's 2 or more becomes a park. So now, if you get on that same field, because we can't get past her, as I said before, we cannot get past that. You guys allowing, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it is 2 that we're on, you know, now. You know, if you allow that, that is what you're gonna get.
Right.
You know, then it comes to all the extras of the taxes and the occupationals and stuff, you know.
Yeah, we were given a workaround of what we were doing before. I think what you're saying is with more than 3, it was a workaround. But now with
The
2 or
2,
more,
yeah.
now we're aligned with the Department of Health's regulation and definition.
Exactly.
So it's
'Cause
in
as a-
everyone's best interest.
As park owners, that's what we have to go. 2 or more is
Right.
considered a park.
It keeps it a level playing field.
I mean, if you go, I don't know how you can get past. I guess maybe because your sewer utilities and stuff are different in the parish that you can get more. How can one go into the parish and get 3 or more permits?
Well, that'd be up to pollution control, you know. But it's moot. We're on the same page now.
Right. Yeah.
So.
All right. Next meeting, Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. On what we have left, we definitely will get through the rest of it on that.
Only
meeting.
2.5 pages left, Robbie, but you do need a motion and a second to adjourn because it is a special meeting we're having.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Mr. Billiard. All approved, aye. All opposed, nay. So motion passes.